We've gotten better. We've gotten better at that. We're not as bad as we used to be. Because they don't play their instruments.
Check out. What's the album called again?
Broken Blues.
Broken Blues. Hello and welcome to Season 1, Episode 6 of the Blues Jam podcast. And today we're here from Jeremy Way. We're going to hear all about how he started his band Far From the Delta. We're going to hear about his heavy metal influences. And we're going to get to see his amazing bespoke guitar that his friend made for him. Make sure you stay tuned till the end, where I'll be giving you notices of blues jams that are coming up over the next 2 weeks. So sit back and enjoy. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast, please make sure you subscribe and tell a friend so that they can enjoy it as well. Thank you. If you've seen some of the other ones, you might know then that the very first question, and the only consistent question so far, is, may you please introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Jeremy Way, or sometimes known as J Way. I was called J Way from a little baby, so
Right, okay, cool.
So the J Way has stuck for quite a long time. It's funny as well because my youngest brother is called Jamie, so he really should have the J, but unfortunately I came along first, so I'm lucky there.
And is that the one who plays bass in the band?
No,
oh, right,
that's
okay.
another brother.
That's another one, right, okay. Okay.
So I'm singer and guitar player, harmonica player from the band Far From the Delta, and general dog's body, and basically do everything else apart from playing the rest of the band's instruments.
Except when they're poorly or something.
Yeah, if they're poorly then I have to play their instruments as well.
In as well, right, okay.
I'm also lead guitarist in Bristol blues band Below the Salt.
Right.
I don't really run it, but I still promote my open mic come jam night down in Devon, Crediton, called the Great Crediton Jam Night. I think that's about it.
Yeah, and blues jam attendee.
Yeah, very much so.
Which is where we first met, on the boat at the Terrapins jam.
Well, yeah, properly, but I think we clocked each other at the Wotton one, because myself and Pete from Below the Salt came up to that one. I think it was during the festival, and we thought we'd go up and catch a few bands as well whilst we were up there.
Nice, okay.
Which I've got to get back to the Wotton one again, because I've only been there once.
Obviously, come along, it'd be great to have you there, yeah. Not that it's mine to invite you to, but it would be great to have you there. So, beg your pardon, actually there might be two consistent questions. You don't have to give details, but are you willing to divulge at least an age bracket or your age?
Yeah, I've got to do the maths because I'm 44 now.
44. Okay, nice. Okay, good. I like knowing to get context.
Yeah.
Because then I can relate that to like my story a little bit as well. Okay. So, can you remember first getting into music, either playing or listening?
I've always listened to music, even as a little baby. I'd watch sort of Top of the Pops and love all those dreadful 80s pop songs that I now can't stand.
I do have a penchant for electro camp 80s pop.
Yeah.
Like Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And, down for that.
Yeah, I suppose it was around 12 years old where I started to sort of discover heavy metal music.
Right.
And then 2 years later I started playing guitar.
Nice. Okay, so yes, because I did notice the sort of Squire with some nice stickers on.
Yeah, that's my first ever guitar, that one.
I mean, I can see from here Maiden and Pantera.
Yeah, Iron Maiden were the breakthrough band for me. It was, the just probably the album covers as a 12-year-old kid.
Can you remember which album?
It was the Somewhere in Time album.
Okay.
And I bought it in Boots of all places.
For me, it was I was lucky enough to have Number of the Beast.
Oh, okay, yeah. There might have been the second one I bought.
So good, so good. Listening to it about the same sort of age as you, maybe even I think I might have even been a little. I was very lucky that in the 80s as a child, my cousin played the guitar. My cousin's older than me,
yeah.
And he was the cool older cousin with like long hair and a flying V guitar, and he introduced me to bands like Guns N' Roses and Iron Maiden, and then later I found Metallica and Pantera and was just like, oh my god, this is it. But at the same time, I was also really lucky that I grew up in a house where we had Black Sabbath Volume 4 and Sabotage on vinyl.
Okay, yeah.
So again, as like a 8-9 year old, like I was putting those albums on because I wanted to listen to those.
Yeah.
Not realising how incredibly influential and seminal they are as albums, you know what I mean? Like I was just some kid looking at like these long haired hippies going, oh, look at this. And now I'm older, I'm thinking how lucky am I that you know, I grew up with that. I grew up with Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous album, you know, Gary Moore just at his best.
Yeah.
Just wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and it sounds like you had a little bit of that same sort of thing.
Well, Mum and Dad were more sort of Beatles, Pink Floyd. There was a lot of prog rock, type album, which I never really listened to as a kid.
Right, okay.
And King Crimson as well. I did listen to that sometimes. A bit of David Bowie. Mum liked a bit of Motown as well.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Wow. Okay, and then into the metal.
Very much
and then
so.
Into the Maiden and that.
Yeah.
So are we? So we're talking sort of early 90s by that point, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking things like Cowboys from Hell are already out. All those Maiden albums already out. Metallica's out, and all their 80s stuff is done and in the public domain.
I was loving all that stuff.
Yeah, right, yeah. I still do.
So do I.
Yeah, I had Metallica on the other day. Just listening to like that sound they get, you know, like I've heard him talk about the particular amps and the solid state amps. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so, but however, this is not the heavy metal jam podcast, this is the blues jam podcast. But I'm happy to talk about that stuff because it's so obvious the lineage.
Yeah, well that's
how
I ended up getting into blues music. Was
you sort of reversing it.
Well I just sort of discovered Black Sabbath, and then I had a friend similar age who was also playing guitar, who had an uncle who got him into Led Zeppelin, so then it was like my friend showed me Led Zeppelin, and then we just traced it back really all the way back to Robert Johnson and stuff.
Right, yeah. This is a theme that keeps coming up in this podcast, and people that I'm talking to, like, they might hear Clapton first, and then go, oh my god, that's a really great song. What's that about? It's about a crossroads. That's brilliant. and then you find out some more about like, oh, hang on, this isn't his song. Yeah. You know, like, oh. How bad to hear that Jack Bruce was born under a bad sign. What? You mean that's not his song? What? Yeah. So,
and then when you're young and you listen to the original recordings, they're almost unlistenable because you're so used to hearing this heavily produced stuff. And now you've got stuff that I don't think you could even replicate if you sat there and recorded on your phone. It would probably be better quality.
Yeah. You'd have to apply an app. You'd have to put a filter on something to make it sound that bad. And then weirdly, you kind of go full circle and you want it to sound that bad. Like I want it to sound this authentic. Like, stop sounding so perfect. No, that, I mean, if you listen to those original Robert Johnson recordings, you're just like, flipping heck, wow, okay. So you sort of reversed it back. You reversed it back through Led Zeppelin and then educated and got found out about where all that stuff came from. And you were playing guitar by then already?
Yeah, I was already playing then. I mean, I had a guitar teacher. He kind of taught me how to teach myself as opposing to. Well, he'd still give me stuff to learn, but it wasn't like here's a set piece kind of thing.
Right.
It was sort of give me more the nuts and bolts, and then go off and do what you want with those nuts and bolts kind of thing.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, but he would give me occasionally some blues shuffles and stuff to learn, just to give myself an idea what was going on.
And were you also learning about theory at the time?
Yeah, a bit.
Right. Okay.
I started doing GCSE music when I started learning how to play guitar. So I haven't got a particularly good music GCSE grade because I'd only been doing it for a short while. So I've got sort of a background knowledge of that, which I can call upon, but it's not stuff that I'm heavily into theory or anything like that.
I think there's I always, before I started looking into like trying to take it a little bit more seriously and try and, because I mean part of my journey was learning some riffs and learning some stuff, but it was always other people's stuff, and I was always trying to emulate other people's stuff, and it was only like 4 or 5 years ago where I made the conscious choice. I want to have a better understanding of what I'm doing on a guitar and try to understand, and in the vain hope that understanding would help me play a bit better and play my stuff, whatever that is.
Yeah, but I find if you know your way around the fretboard a lot better, it makes life easier for you.
Well, yeah, because I always joked, before I started doing that, I always joked that the guitar is, that you don't have to be a musician, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of ways around to tune playing the guitar, learning, reading tab.
Yeah.
When people tell me they've learnt tab, like, what do you mean you've learnt? There's nothing to learn. There's numbers and there's lines that represent the strings. There you go. That's it. That's.
I don't even bother with tab anymore. I do it all by ear.
Right. Yeah. Well, there is that. There is that as well. Which, again, you see, my cousin could do that.
Yeah.
And I was always really amazed by that. And I was always under the belief, oh my God, I'll never be able to do that. And I can't do it now, but every now and then I hear something and I go, I think I know where that is. I think I know where to go with that. And I get close and...
Yeah, well, because blues especially is around 5 notes, really. I know there's extra notes. You can't, if you're listening to a lot of blues songs, if you've been playing blues for a long time, you can almost hear what you've got to play when you hear it. And it's like, I find it fairly easy now to pick up a blues song.
Right.
Anything else, it takes me a bit more time, but because I play a lot of blues.
But that's almost what I'm getting at. Like, you've just hinted at the pentatonic scale by saying there's 5 notes.
Yeah.
So you know about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you know about, I'm guessing you know about like minor and major pentatonics.
Yeah. I have, like I said, I have an understanding of it. I don't tend to call on it.
Right. Okay. So so we're teenage years, you're playing the guitar. Did you get into bands quite early, or was there
I was just literally a few months in, I was like, alright, I've got to join a band. And then we couldn't find a bass player, so I started to learn how to play bass as well.
Right, okay.
And then I've played bass in a lot of bands before I jumped over to guitar properly in bands about, well, I suppose with Far From the Deltas about 14 years ago. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So was there a lot of bands up until...
not loads and loads. And there was a little period of time when my children were very young that I didn't do it, but it was only a few years, and then it was like, I'm back out there again.
Okay. So you have children?
Yeah. Apart from they're not really children anymore.
No, okay, they're a bit older.
Yeah.
Do any of them play, or do any of them?
21 and 18 now.
Right.
My 18-year-old daughter, she kind of flirts with the idea of playing guitar, but she's never really taken it up. And my son has no interest in music whatsoever. He'll listen to a bit now and again, but it's really not his thing at all.
I wonder about young people and like because it's hard not to put them off by going, oh, guitar's brilliant. It will take you 3 or 4 years, but it's brilliant. How long? Like, oh yeah, no, and that's 3 or 4 years of it in your hand every day for an hour minimum. Yeah, because Because that's been my experience. Like I was on and off until about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then, like I say, made the conscious, and then just realised, this just needs to be in my hand every day.
Yeah, when I was 15 years old, some weekends, I'd literally play guitar all weekend, do nothing else till my fingers were raw.
Right.
I mean, I still pick it up for at least 20 minutes a day, bare minimum.
Right. And how are your fingers now? What style do you go? Do you go callous, or does the skin come off?
No, they're kind of underneath almost. It's almost gone soft again on top, but it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't get sore or anything.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt anymore because you're just so used to it. Right. So 14, 15 years ago you started. Did you start Far From the Delta, or was it an established band that was already up and running?
No, I started it with our drummer. We were in a death metal band. I was the bass player, he was the singer and the guitarist. And things were going a bit pear-shaped with the band, so we were flirting with the idea of doing more of a sort of stoner, sludgy rock type of thing.
A bit of a Caius type thing.
And I just went, well, if we shift it a bit further along and do blues, then we can go play in pubs and stuff and get paid for gigs. Because I was 30 years old and we were playing people would actually know at the Cavern, and at the time it's not there anymore, it's been knocked down, a place called the Hub, and we would play there like on a Monday night to 2 people, and it was getting to the point where these younger sort of 18-year-old kids would come in and they'd play a completely different style of heavy metal to us, and they'd be 10 times better, and it was kind of like time to do something else, time for a change. Time to do something where I might be able to, get a little bit of pocket money whilst I'm doing it.
When the 18-year-olds turn up and they're better, it's I can relate. I've been involved in some other stuff before, and when you suddenly start seeing the younger generation come up and come through and what they're doing, I'm like, okay. Time to take a side step on this, I think.
Yeah. Time to go and play old man music now.
Let's get the dad rock going. Okay, and so there's you and the drummer, and then how quickly did you recruit other people?
And then we just played as a 3-piece for ages. Got my brother in, who was in a band with the drummer. They were in like an indie rock type band that happened to be falling apart at a similar kind of time.
Right.
Then we had an interesting fact that about a year in, my brother moved here to Bristol, and we were still down in Devon, so we got someone else in to replace him. And then about a year later he moved back, at the same time my drummer moved to Bristol. But fortunately the guy who replaced my brother also played drums, so we shifted him over to drums.
We've got some good news and some bad news.
And then about a year later our drummer came back, and the guy who'd replaced him wasn't really, he was much more into his metal, he wasn't really enjoying playing the blues, so he was quite happy to just step aside. And then we played as a 3-piece till about 4 or 5 years ago, and then we got a second guitar player in, Lee, who had filled in on bass a few times for a few gigs, so we kind of knew the songs a little bit anyway. And he started coming to my Great Credits and Jam nights, which is how we met him. And he was like, he's a good guitar player, well, do you want to join? And he was like, yeah. He's, as well, because we're all sort of metalheads and like punk as well and stuff, and he was in a prog metal band at the time as well, so he kind of slotted in very nicely with the rest of us anyway.
Now, I don't want to make any assumptions about anybody watching this, and I want to be educated myself as well. How would you, although, I've heard the term Delta Blues, and I've listened to some, but what, is that a reference, when you say Far From the Delta, is it a reference to you playing Delta style blues, or? No,
it's just purely because we're so far away from the Mississippi Delta.
Right. Next question.
I mean, when we do a full show, I stay on stage halfway between, and the rest of the band have a break. So I find if I talk to people in the halfway bit, I lose my voice, and then I've lost my voice for the rest of the gig, and it's a real pain to try and sing the second half of the gig. So I stay on stage, and I grab my resonator, and I play 3 or 4 songs on my resonator guitar. So that's getting a little bit more delta blues, but I don't do an awful lot of finger style playing. So it's sort of still mainly picks. So it's not quite proper delta sounding blues.
But closer on the resonator, like you said. Which is, that one there. Yeah. Okay.
In fact, those 3 guitars are my main gigging guitars.
Right. Okay. They're just out of shot, but maybe later we'll have a look at if you're willing. If you're willing. Okay. So how would you describe the music that Far From the Delta?
We are definitely a blues rock band.
Right.
Well, I would almost say we're a heavy metal band pretending to be a blues band. When we play our own stuff, I mean, because we've written a lot of music ourselves, but when we go out and do gigs, it's probably about 2/3 covers. So that's a bit more. It's a lot of it is either Chicago type blues or blues rock. So you got a bit of Cream, a bit of Jimi Hendrix, a bit of Led Zeppelin. Doors we do as well.
And always turned up to 11.
Yeah. We've gotten better. We've gotten better at that. We're not as bad as we used to be.
So you mentioned there about writing your own songs. Is that something? How long have you been doing that for?
Since I've been playing.
Right.
I've always.
That teenage.
Yeah. I've always been writing songs.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a big part of it for me is that creative side of writing music as well.
And the whole side of it, the lyrics, the chord structure, the solos.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
As a band, and I've done this in my own bands that I've formed, I normally have written the lyrics. Sometimes someone else will write the lyrics, but it's normally me. And then what I normally do is I come in with a riff or two.
Right.
I don't come in with it. Occasionally I'll have a preconceived idea, but I don't normally. I just go in and throw it at the band and see what comes out of it.
Right.
So I find it's always better if everybody contributes to it. That's where if you do it on your own, it gets a little bit one-dimensional sometimes.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask if you had a fully formed song in your head, but it sounds like you have ideas that, as you say, you chuck out and see what response you get from people. Right. Okay. I think that's. I think that shows a great deal of humility as well, because it means that you're you're putting your thing out there that you created, and just going, right, what would you guys do with this then?
Yeah.
And I could really see how that could generate a lot more organic ideas.
Yeah.
Like you say, rather than just your fixed.
Yeah. Well, a big part of that was being in bands when we changed the drummer. Because you change a drummer and they would take a different approach and they can completely change the sound of the song.
Wow.
So with that in mind, it's like, right, I think I'd rather get everybody's input and then see how that comes out that way.
Okay. And how does that normally, is there strong characters in Far From the Delta that have a little bit more, shall I say in how it goes, or
we're pretty good. I mean, I very rarely pull rank, if you know what I mean. But as I said, I do.
Put your hand up if it's your band.
Yeah. But I'm the one who does. I've learned how to design websites.
Right. Okay. You've had
recorded. I've even designed our own font. Don't ever design your own font. It takes forever.
Word of wisdom. You thought this was about music. It's about merchandise.
Yeah, so I do a lot of I do all the artwork and everything, and book all the gigs. And my nickname is Bandad as well, because any problems on the night of a gig, all the members of the band come to me, and hopefully I've got the spare lead that they need.
Brilliant. No one's thought to check all the kit before you left in the van. No. So do you do the band full time, or do you have a job as well?
No, I have a job. Unfortunately.
Wet, man. Are you willing to talk about, or just roughly?
Yeah, no, I'm a dental technician, so I make teeth for a living, which is just a weird job.
Okay.
But it's Monday to Friday, 9 till 5 type of job, so it's ideal. So it means evenings and weekends are completely free.
And you don't. It sounds like you don't take that homework with you. You go into work, do your day's work. When you shut the door, you shut the door.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well, I've normally got half a dozen emails to reply to as well.
Right. For band stuff.
For band stuff.
Right, yeah.
Because you know, I'm also in Below the Salt. I mean, I don't really do much for that. It's more of a case of, are you free to do this, that, and the other, or go for a practice. Far from the Delta don't practice very often anymore, but
right. Because of 14 years of being together, it's not like an arrogant statement. It's just like we kind of know the songs out. Yeah. And everyone practices at home themselves, practices their bits.
Well, exactly, and you know, we get together because we like to write music and stuff. So I'm down there about every 3 weeks ish.
Right.
It's all gone a bit haywire recently because I've had a lot of gigs, but yeah.
So is the band still based in Devon?
Yeah.
Right. So you're commuting because we're here in Bristol at the moment. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're commuting when you go down to go and get involved.
But we've got some gigs in Bristol now, so.
So you got up to you. Right. Cool. Nice. And do you have a busy rota of gigs coming up this year? I mean, I say this year, we're in June already.
Well, as I told you before we started, I've just moved here about a month ago, and I've had a gig for the past 5 weeks in a row. Every week I've had a gig, and it's been when I've been trying to move house. It's been a nightmare. Had 2 Below the Salt ones and 3 Far from the Delta ones.
Wow.
We only normally do around 10 Far from the Delta. This is, I think Below the Salt are going to be similar. I only joined them this year. We do around 10 to 12 gigs a year. We don't.
Right.
Because I know friends who'll do 100 plus gigs, and then it's kind of like, well, where's your weekend to go?
Yeah, that's 2 a week, and if you're only doing them on the way, Saturday and Sunday taken up, and that's then you're back to work on.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing again, excuse my naivety, even at 100 gigs, that's not enough to live off, is it? I mean, that's not.
No.
Like, we'll just live off this, it'll be fine.
Yeah, no, it's not. Well, if you're lucky enough to get enough money for it, but I mean, you know, pubs, if you're doing mainly pub gigs, they can't afford that much because people don't go out like they used to.
No. I mean, if you're lucky, it might be that you could work a part-time job rather than a full-time job. But even then, because like you say, because people aren't going out as much, you don't want to take that risk.
No.
Of having to rely on only a part-time salary.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I chat to Nick from the Terraplanes.
Yeah.
And you know, I just don't know how he manages to do it. I do not know.
Yeah.
Because I say to him, I worry about you. I worry that, you know, if you getting enough gigs, are you managing to claw enough money in? Because it must be stressful.
So what other things do you do? Because you also mentioned before we started that you have kit because you've done YouTube videos.
Yeah, but that's mainly Far from the Delta stuff.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just a bit of guitar playing. I did last year for a while, and I gave up because the views started to drop off. But I do a weekly thing that was like 15, 30 second video every week that was Jay's fault for the weekend.
Nice.
And I would put a little thought in. The sad thing was the one that got the most views was a political one. I didn't really want it to go that way, and I could have carried on with the political stuff and got more views as that. I don't want to go down that road.
No.
But yeah, it's again the YouTube stuff's mainly Far from the Delta stuff. It's not
because Far from the Delta has its own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Okay. Good. Which is.
It's just search for Far From the Delta on YouTube because it's youtube.com/Far From the Delta. So
when you finished watching this, if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening, remember that we do have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Then go and check out Far From the Delta by searching for it and finding it and subscribing to it and liking it and going and watching the videos.
And our 10-year-old album Broken Blues I've just put back on streaming platforms, is on everything.
So if you are listening to this rather than watching on YouTube, then when you finish listening to this, check out, what's the album called again?
Broken Blues.
Broken Blues. Nice, good, okay. Good.
Yeah.
So the band's well established. You've got some gigs coming up this year, and you were just saying that those 3 guitars that I can see off screen are your 3 main. But I tell you what. Let's start at the beginning. Are you willing to tell us a little bit about the Squire, or show us it?
Yeah.
Then
you can grab it if you want to nearer. It needs a bit of TLC at the moment because the machine heads have disintegrated. I've got some new machine heads to put on there, but I've not got round to doing it yet.
Wow. Yeah, that is well used.
Yeah. So it's been abused quite a bit as well.
What is it exactly?
It's a Squire Telecaster.
Right.
During my Iron Maiden days, and they always had Strats with their whammy bars, I even used to ram sorry for guitar players, I used to ram a little, like a rod under there and pull up under the bridge to bend it and stuff. So this guitar has been properly abused by a 14-year-old kid who didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, right.
You can't really see because the stickers, it's sort of like cherry red.
There's some tiny little bits of the colour coming
so
through.
I was never particularly happy about having a cherry red guitar, so that's how the stickers ended up on there.
Right. And was it new when you got it?
No, it was second hand, so God knows how ancient this guitar is.
Right, okay, wow, okay. I mean, it could be
30 years old already, so it must be, it must be probably around 35 years old, this guitar.
It could be some sort of 80s guitar. Yeah, okay.
It's doing well for an MDF guitar.
And have you ever modded it in any way, changed the pickups or anything? Or?
I've been tempted to. I've never. Again, it's something I've not got around to doing.
I mean, to be fair, it looks like you've barely cleaned it, let alone changed the pickups.
It's not. Like I say, it needs a bit of TLC at the moment.
It does. Bless her. She's got a bit of fluff down that.
Yeah, needs some new strings.
But,
like I said, for these machine
Oh my
heads,
God! Yeah.
They've only recently disintegrated, so.
Okay, all right. Well,
so I do have new ones to put on there, lock-in ones as well, because I prefer lock-in machine heads.
Right. Okay. And as I say, this might well be the Blues Jam podcast, but I do acknowledge the lineage. So we've got numerous Maiden stickers. Pantera.
Down there.
Lamb of God. I noticed a Chili Peppers one there. Sabbath ruined my life.
Some Led Zeppelin ones there.
Right,
as well.
nice, good. Okay, good.
Slipknot ones on there as well.
Yeah, 9 Inch Nails on the underneath there, and a dime bag. I mean, that sticker can't be that old because that's dated 2004 when you died. Motorhead,
That's 20 years ago now.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God, don't bag only died the other year. What are you on about? No, it's 20 years ago. What? Oh no. If you're a really hardcore blues fan, then you may not understand. Dimebag Darrell was a guitarist for a band called Pantera.
Probably my favourite guitar player.
Yeah, Pantera amazing.
Yeah.
Somebody introduced me to the phrase groove metal, and I was like, that's right for Pantera.
Yeah.
With some with a bluesy sort of feel to some of them.
Yeah, well, no, that's
without a shadow
again.
of a doubt.
That's probably why I leaned into them because they do have a little bit of a bluesy feel. Not that a blues fan would hear that probably if they listen to Pantera, but if you're a heavy metal fan, and you listen to it, you can hear that sort of blues influence.
Well, I mean. It's, having learnt about the blues scale. Yeah. There's "Jump in the Fire," a Metallica song. Yeah. Where I've known that riff for years, and then it was as I was learning about pentatonics, the blues scale, and so forth. I played that riff one day and went, "Hang on a minute, that is every single note of the G minor blue."
It's funny when you listen to a lot of pop music, old and new. You'll hear a 12-bar blues occasionally. Yeah. And you'll just be there'll just be some random pop song going on in the background in the radio, and all of a sudden you'll go, "Hang on a minute, that's a 12-bar."
That just circled round again. But I think there's a lot of it goes on that we don't. And as I say, as we've stated and I've stated numerous times, you can follow that lineage, Robert Johnson through, and then coming up through B.B. King influencing that, and then
especially
Clapton and Cream,
especially going on to Black Sabbath, I think.
That first Sabbath album.
Yeah, it's quite bluesy sounding, but then it's modern heavy metal, in my opinion, sounds much more like Black Sabbath than a lot of the other 70s bands that are also accredited to be, Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, did you paint on that one yourself? Yeah, nice, okay. So, you're quite... Are you visually creative as well? Did you paint that yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Freehand?
I've not drawn or painted anything for years, so if you ask me to draw something now, that's absolutely atrocious, but yeah, I used to.
But I was just thinking, when you say you make teeth,
I make teeth and stuff, and I do all the posters for the band and everything, that's all.
Right. And all the visuals of it and the way it looks. And like you say, you created your own font, which I keep looking behind me because his screensaver on the PC here is nice photographs and like a...
Our drummer who replaced the other drummer made our first website, and he used, at the time, a font that wasn't used very much, which was the Bleeding Cowboy font, which now makes my screen crawl because everybody used it a few years afterwards. So we were there thinking we were all clever, and then all of a sudden it was everywhere. So the font I designed was based kind of around that, because I didn't want to change it too much, but I wanted it to obviously not be that Bleeding Cowboy font.
Right, let's put that back. I think I'm going to need both hands, so I'm going to put that down. Because I don't want to... I like the BC... We may not get it out, but off screen there's a BC Rich
Warlock
bass over here.
Nice and pointy.
Yeah.
Not one to sit down with when you're playing.
No. It's like, tell me you're into playing heavy metal without saying I've got a BC Warlock. Okay, have I done that right?
I think so. I think if it crashes, you're not going to do that much more damage to it than's already been done.
I don't want it to crash now. I don't want that to happen. That's not what I want. Right, good. Now all this is your responsibility because they're on your side. So which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with this one, because this one, my best friend built for me.
Wow. How nice.
Yeah.
How nice. So it's like a bespoke guitar that you've had.
Yeah.
Nice, okay.
And all the parts, this is, again, I've had this guitar for about 10 years or so, all the parts have probably cost me over £1,000.
Right.
So God knows how much it would actually cost to have someone rebuild it for me to replace it, I try to think.
Okay, and so you went with a sort of a hardtail, no tremolo system.
No.
2 humbuckers.
Yeah, active humbuckers, they're EMGs. Right. Mainly because I wanted no plastic to show.
Right.
So I wanted the metal covers, so we went for active ones because the metal covers obviously are going to get in the way a little bit, so we had something that had a bit more juice to it.
Okay. With the selector switch up there.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a combination of my original guitar because it's like a Telecaster shape.
Yeah, it's slightly, isn't it? Yeah.
But then, I'll get it out in a second, my Washburn, which is a Les Paul, I liked having the pickup selector up there. I found I'd change the pickups more often when I had it up the top there, so that's why I opted to have it that way round.
So have you got volume and tone for each pickup then? Right, okay.
The volumes are master volumes. So if you turn one down, it will turn them both down. If you've got both pickups on. If you've only got the one pickup on, then it will only work for that pickup.
Right. Okay. And have you got any push-pull turning those into... No, they stay as humbuckers. Okay. And how would you describe that neck? Flat or quite round or...
Yeah, it's fairly flat, I'd say.
That's what I was going to say, but I didn't want to... Yeah. Oh, nice and like... Oh, lovely. Can you put that right up? Right up there you go, yeah. There, like that.
Yeah.
Is it like your own signature guitar on the back, literally made for you by your man, J.M. Randall.
Yeah. And it's...
With the locking nuts, obviously, like...
Well, Bluefoot is kind of a joke because he's got some toes missing.
Right. Okay.
But he...
I'm not sure we're supposed to laugh at that.
But he... if you knew John, you would laugh at it. But he's got a 3D printing company where he does all sort of sci-fi memorabilia and stuff, and he's called that Bluefoot 3D printing or something.
Okay.
So, yeah. So he's
as well as being a luthier.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Wow. I mean, that's a nice finish on that, isn't it? With a bolt-on neck, it's not a through neck.
No,
okay.
No, it's bolts on neck. Nice big chunky bolts. Yeah, I made those bits.
Right.
And I did the nut as well. Oh, and the pickup cover as well.
Right. The sort of truss rod cover, whatever it's called.
Yeah, because when John lives in Devon, when I was working with him, I was doing the metalwork side of my job, so I was kind of used to
working with
the metal, which is why I did some of the metal parts on this guitar.
And is this pretty much your number one guitar?
Yeah. Well, I had it built for me, so it's kind of it's how I want a guitar. So, any guitar player I recommend having a guitar built for you at some point.
Really,
it's really nice to have that guitar.
So tell me, love that. Love that as a tip. If you're really into guitar, Jeremy's saying get yourself a guitar built.
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Well, some people find their perfect guitar and they're happy with that, but you know, I've got quite a few guitars here, and there's bits that I like of all of them. So I sort of pick your favourite parts of each guitar, and then you can put them into one guitar.
Right. So you can customize. You can in a customized way.
Yeah.
Put all your favourite bits, like you're saying, into one. Yeah. Because you're saying all of the guitars are brilliant and are amazing, but they might have some bits that are not quite so amazing.
Yeah, they will have. Every guitar I have has its individual job. I don't ever buy a guitar if I kind of don't need it.
Right.
So even though it seems to have quite a lot, they all have their individual jobs. So it's kind of like, I need that guitar for this reason and that.
And because you've put all the best elements of all the different guitars into this one, is this one of the few that will do everything that you need it to do? Or
yeah, except for maybe doing acoustic stuff.
Right. Okay. So you could you thrash out some heavy metal riffs on that if you wanted to?
Yeah. Well, it's got the active pickups.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So you got that, and you can make it scream if you wanted to with the blues solo, and okay. And am I noticing
the ball bearings?
Yeah, okay, right, so that's so you can feel, okay.
I don't need them anymore, but when I started, because this band was the first band I was really singing in, when I started singing and playing, I kept on playing out of key and I was struggling to get into the right key. So we'll see in a minute on the other guitar, we just used super glue to test it out. Just put some ridges where the dots should be, and I found it easy, because then if I did slip up, I could just move my hand and feel the raise, and then I knew it was in the right place again.
Right. I was also wondering if they were, so they're ball bearings, they're not lights.
No.
Because I noticed there are some brands of guitars. I look on the Jackson webpage quite often, and it's not so much that they light up, but they're like reflective fret markers, so that when you play on a dark stage, you can still see roughly where it's supposed to be.
I can get away with that now. Right. I've been doing it for long enough now. I can get away with it. But I can hear now if I'm out of key, and I know where to go now. But when I first had this guitar built, it was still singing and playing was still quite new to me at the time.
Nice. Okay. Nice. Very nice. Love the sort of naked wood.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's quilted sycamore. I wanted a quilted maple, but it's more of a European maple, I think. So
okay. And how old is this now then? Sorry, did you say? Or
it's about 10 years old-ish.
I was going to say, because when you turn it in the light, I can see wear on it, which is nice. How do you feel about worn out guitars?
It gives it character. It's, to me, I'm never overly precious with my guitars. Obviously, I'm not going to smash them against the wall or anything, but dinks and wear and stuff, I just think brings the guitar more, gives it more character and stuff. I think it's better almost.
Right. Okay.
So you see a band turn up with lots of nice shiny new gear, you know they're not going to be very good because they don't play their instruments. They're too busy trying to look after them.
At the same time, I was watching something with Stuart Copeland at the Police.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how they were in LA at the time, and they got a phone call from like their manager or something going early on, and their albums had just started doing really well. Congratulations, gentlemen! You're all now very rich men. You went great, and they literally bombed out to a music shop.
It's probably what I would do, to be honest.
And he said the techs were so annoyed that night because they all turned up with a new kit. Like, we're putting this on the stage tonight, and they were like, okay, all right, yeah, whatever you say, yeah, okay. So all these techs had to learn all this new, yeah. Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, you can see somewhere on it, but I mean, only in the light. I mean, just a cursory glance at it, and she looks.
Yeah, I look after. I do look as much as I say. Oh, don't worry too much. I do look after it. It's built. It's been built to last as well. It's a very solid guitar.
And string change regime. What are you like?
I've got so many bloody guitars. I don't do it all the time because I couldn't afford it or have the time to do it all the time. Gigging guitars normally at most 3 gigs, and I'll switch them over.
Okay.
They start to lose their life a little bit as well once they get a bit grimy and a bit sweaty and stuff.
Can you hear that in it? Or is it to do with the feel?
I think I notice that the guitar is almost sounding a little bit dull.
Right, okay.
I notice that more so now with having a second guitar player in Far From the Delta. I mean, below the salt I'm the only guitarist, so it doesn't matter so much. But with the second guitar player, if they're a bit dull, the other guitar player will start to drown me out almost, and it's harder to hear.
Okay. But every 3 gigs, that's not too bad. So that could be, what, every 3 months, or it could be...
Yeah. That's a moment.
Yeah.
It's been
the last 4 weeks, yeah.
Okay. In fact, I changed them for the last gig because the gig before a string broke during sound check. I was so pleased it happened during sound check.
Yeah. And when that happened, so I mean, we could use a load of sarcasm, but you've got no sound, you've got no guitar tech. No. So the string breaks, and are you changing all the strings in that moment, or just
that one? Because I haven't got time.
Right.
But because it's got the locking nuts,
right,
you haven't got all the twists. So you literally flick that out, pull the string right out straight away. A string change takes literally moments. It's not like having your Floyd Bros where you're there for half an hour.
Yeah. Well, that's why. Yeah, that's why I didn't go for it.
Yeah.
That's like I did. I read everyone's heard. I did the research and was like, you will do a lot of maintenance on your float. Well, no, I won't, because I get a hardtail one. That'll do. Sweet. I don't intend to use it anyway. So although I did want one until I kind of wanted one until I read that, and I was like, I can live without it.
Yeah. I don't need it. I've got one guitar with a whammy bar on, and whenever I have it, I just like that constantly. So I'm like, no.
Just like a boy with a toy. Yeah, I can imagine myself doing it. You don't need to use it for everything you play, Brett. Oh, yes, I do.
I do have a whammy pedal though.
Okay. Yeah. A lot less maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So the brand. There is kind of no brand to that guitar.
No.
So the number 1 guitar is a bespoke, 1 of 1. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So are you willing to?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to. Well, yeah, we don't have to look at all of them. Maybe one more then. Which one are you going to choose? Or do you want to quickly go through both of them?
I'm going to go through both of them quickly.
Yeah,
because it's not a Washburn here, which sort of Les Paul. So normally have that tuned to G. Because I use it for I use it for slide, even though it's probably the guitar I have with the lowest action on it. You're always supposed to play with a high action on you, but as well, it is my spare guitar. So if a string breaks mid-song and I don't have time, I can flip over guitars.
Right. Okay. Good, but although your number 1 is normally tuned, but you just quickly tune this up and bam, off you go. Yeah. Okay. Nice. And this is this all standard, or have you modded this?
Yeah. Well, I got it for my 21st birthday, which is far too long ago, and the pickups aren't the original pickups. They're sort of some Diablo type pickups. They're beautiful, absolutely lovely sounding pickups. But apart from that, it's a fairly standard Les Paul. They do have the wire in them to coil tap them if I wanted to. So I could have the push pull.
You could have a push pull on that.
Yeah.
One, okay.
But I don't, and I've never got around to doing it.
And you've lost it in the ensuing
Yeah.
years. You've lost the
Yeah.
knob off the selector,
Yeah.
but it still does its job.
Yeah.
So it's all right. Black, nice bit of like goldish, creamy, or is that just how old it is?
Probably
was
just
it white?
I think it
or-
was supposed to be white at one point in time, but yeah, it's just getting on a bit.
Yeah, of course. But like you say, then it's got character. It's got age.
Yeah.
It's played. Was this new when you got it?
No, again, this was like a second-hand one.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
got it in a music shop though. It was second-hand in the music shop.
Nice. So it had been serviced and
Yeah.
looked after before it
Yeah.
come to you.
Yeah.
Not just-
Manson's guitars, which are now closed, but they're very famous in Exeter, and they used to build the guitars for Matt Bellamy, him from Muse.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do always weird and wonderful guitars with all the sort of chaos pads and various weird effects and stuff in them.
Right. Nice. Okay. Okay. Cool. And so that's your slide guitar in G,
Yeah.
ready to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was my main guitar before I had the other one built.
Right. Nice. Okay. So
Yeah.
that. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And have you created any snazzy way in which to hold a slide on it, or do you just put your slide in your pocket or something?
Yeah, no, when I play, I have it in my pocket for Below the Salt gigs. When I play Far From the Delta gigs, because I play harmonica as well, I actually have a little tray on my mic stand.
Right,
Where I
okay.
put my slides, my harmonicas, and my spare plectrums. I never drop a plectrum if I've got a load in front of me.
Right.
If I've only got one on me,
Oh, yeah.
I'll drop it all night long.
And as we all know, if those of you who don't play the guitar will think this is the oddest thing, but when you drop a pick, a whole different universe opens up underneath you. The pick disappears into
Yeah.
that universe, and then it closes up. And for the life of you, you can't find it.
No. And then when you move the sofa, even though you lost it on stage, when you move the sofa, it's under your
At
sofa.
home?
Yeah.
At home. Yeah. Yeah. I learned that very early on.
Yeah.
I was very confused. How did it end up over there and I'm sat here? Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's noticed as well. I've got my favourite type of plectrum.
Yeah,
'cause
right,
It's
yeah,
on
yeah,
every
you've got
single
it, yeah.
guitar. Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's geek out. What is that then? Go on then. What is
Well,
it?
it's a Jim Dunlop.
What? I thought I saw two. Yeah, here. I've got, these are worn out ones. Oh, okay, so that's sort of relatively hardish.
He's rattling around. Where are we?
There we go.
Slides. I'm not sure I've got some in there.
There we go. So we're looking at
0.73 mil.
0.73.
Which has got a little bit of give in it. I always used to play with
Not
very...
much.
No, I always used to play with hard plectrums. And then I started doing ones with a little bit of give, and I just found it a little bit easier to play, and especially with
Right.
strumming and that, I could get a bit more. If I do any sort of sweep picking type stuff as well, it sort of rolls off a lot nicer for me.
Nice, nice.
It's weird. As you play guitar, you get these silly little sort of preferences.
But that's the point. It's all customizable. It's all
Yeah.
it's all your own personal preferences.
There's the same with the gauge of strings. I always use light strings.
Right. Okay.
Apart from my, which I don't think I've got any here, my really crappy guitars, I tend to have quite heavy strings on.
Right.
I practice on them.
Okay.
And then when I go to, I find it so much easier then when I pick up a nice guitar with nice light strings.
Nice. Okay. And then the third and final one,
Yeah.
then from the sort of gigging.
Yeah, the resonator, which do some on slide, and if you see me at a gig, you'll see me play one song that I do in open D,
Right.
and then I play a clutch song in drop D. So then I have to
Right.
tune it all up apart from that string, and then so if you see us play a gig, I'm halfway through. I'm constantly tuning this guitar for the different songs I do. This is a really cheap guitar off Amazon,
Right.
which doesn't really have a proper
Doesn't
brand.
even have a
No.
brand.
Well,
on it.
there was
Oh,
something
no, I
on there,
see,
but
I
it's
do see
worn off.
something, Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it's been played on this guitar.
Oh God, yeah.
I used to take it because I used to take it into work. I don't have a full lunch hour now. When I used to have a full lunch hour, I used to take my guitar into work. And I worked with my friend John who built me the guitar, and we used to have lunchtime jams and stuff.
Nice, nice.
And it was normally this guitar I'd bring into work because obviously it didn't need an amp or anything.
No. No, nice, nice. Nice. So what? I mean, you just mentioned briefly. You mentioned sweep picking there. Is it as a technique?
Yeah.
Is there techniques or things that you identify that you've still got to learn or want to work on?
Only nothing in particular. Only just get better in general at everything because I'm playing for a long time.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty clear that you're competent. Pretty clear. You know, I played with you. I played once with you at the boat.
Yeah. They are good jams.
They are good jams, but it was also just like, Jesus, I can't keep up with this guy. We were playing something, and I couldn't quite get the riff. It was probably something really simple, and I was like, this guy's gonna kick me off the stage in a minute. He's gonna kill me.
Well, I've run my own jam night, so I have no judgment whatsoever on anybody's ability. Because as well, I remember what it was like at the beginning as well. I have never judged anybody.
I kind of like it though, because it makes you improve. It's like sugar me, sometimes I leave those jams and go straight home, and she's back out, and I'm practicing because I'm like I'm not doing that again. There's got to get better than that.
People listening probably have heard of James Oliver, who's a Welsh guy who plays a lot locally, and he hosts the jam at the Golden Lion every last Thursday of the month, and he is just jaw-droppingly good. I mean, he plays about 300 gigs a year. Right. Very busy chap. But yeah, he certainly knows his way around a guitar, and I know a lot of guitar players, you go and watch him and then it's like, right, your turn. Oh no!
I think I left my guitar at home actually.
I had a chap who was there last month who's actually got hold of me, and I'm going to be meeting up with him because he's not jammed yet and he's a bit nervous about it, and I said that was probably the worst jam for you to go to. You need to come down to the one on the boat because there's people loads of different levels that come to the Terraplanes one.
Absolute rubbish. Really, really good. This is the spectrum right here. So no, it is they're great. What do you get out of playing at a jam?
It's
out of a blues
jam. I find
it's
one thing I find slightly frustrating is I always have to play a 12 bar because you don't know who you're playing with and how much they can cope with you doing anything off kilter. But apart from that, when I do most of the songs I do with Far From the Delta. Less Pete from Below the Salt there, then I might do some of the Below the Salt stuff. But again, like I was saying earlier on about if you change the drummer, it can be a completely different song. So I'll play these cover songs that we do with everybody else, and I have to, even though I know the song inside out and I've learnt it and I'm the one leading, I still have to change what I'm doing to fit what everybody else is doing. So it's a really good way of getting to know the song even better, getting sort of turning it inside out kind of thing. So yeah, and again, it's very different to playing with a band where you've played with everybody for 10 plus years and you know the songs inside out. So it challenges me. I've got to think on my feet a little bit quite often.
Nice.
I mean, Pete, the singer from Below the Salt, got us on the boat last month to do a song we do in D, to play it in G. And that was a bit of mind-blowing for me because I'm still quite new to those songs as well, so I really had to think about what I was playing, and every now and again it would go out of key. It's like, oh, it's me.
Well, that is encouraging to hear because, like you say, if you are a beginner, I can imagine it's well daunting. It was. I mean, I can remember going and being like, oh, these cats really know what they're doing.
But that's almost misleading because when you're at a jam, you're kind of expecting people to make mistakes, and it doesn't matter. It's like when you put stops in and one person keeps playing, like, the most you're going to get out of me is I'll crack up laughing.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, in Far From the Delta, if we make a mistake, if someone else makes a mistake, the rest of the band just fall about in fits of laughter. So if you ever come and see us, you know when someone's messed up because
everyone's laughing. Well, because I mean, what it sounds like is that there's even somebody as competent as yourself, there's still moments of it being daunting, of like, oh, crikey, what am I doing here? Yeah, I'm doing this. Yeah, okay, right. Oh, yeah, okay, right.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
There's plenty of good guitar players, and I'm sat there going, oh, okay, I'm going up next. Oh, God.
Yeah, nice. Okay, yeah. So, we got the one on the boat.
Yeah.
But you also attend and go to the. Do you still go to the Crediton one?
I do sometimes, but it's normally the same night as the boat.
Right.
So if I'm down in Devon that weekend, I'll stay a little bit later, even though I need to get back and do that. They also have a blues jam down there.
Right.
The Red Deer in Crediton, Devon, near Exeter. That's the second Sunday of the month.
Right.
And if I'm
Did
down,
you send me details about that?
Yeah, I think so.
The one that should be going out right now, but it's sat on my PC at the moment because I didn't get it sorted in enough time, and will go out late. Right. I think I give notice on that Crediton one. Yeah.
And again, that's a different place, but it's very similar to the boat.
Right.
Sort of level. You get lots of different levels. But you also get some very good players as well.
Yeah, I kind of like the 3-song format because actually it gives you a bit of time to like first song you're sort of warming up and getting your fingers moving.
I think that's a lot of jams I go to. That's fairly standard. As when I ran my night, that's normally what I would do. I would let people do 3 songs.
Yeah, really sort of get into it.
Unless they were doing super long ones, it's like, no, off.
Yeah. Get off, slow hand. Come on. Right. Sweet. Well, Jeremy, thank you. I mean, I could sit and talk to you for another hour.
Yeah,
but we'll do that in part 2.
Yeah, we can do part 2.
We'll do that in part 2. In the meantime, what have you got gigs coming up really soon that you can tell us about?
Yes. Unfortunately, there's one that hasn't quite been confirmed that's in Bristol, which I really would have loved to have said. But 15th and 16th of June are Far From the Delta's next gigs.
Right.
The 15th of June, which should be a Saturday, if I've got the dates right, is at the Moor Hayes Beer Festival. It's actually ticketed. I think it's about £12.50 a ticket, so it's not breaking the bank. And that's sort of in Tiverton, in Devon.
Right.
We're top of the bill. I'm not sure how we wangled that. But we, I don't think it matters that much who's at the top, but we'll brag and say that we're headlining.
But they are. Just saying. It doesn't matter, but they are.
Yeah. And then on the Sunday afternoon, they've had to shift it a little bit earlier because the football starts. So it's from 4 till 7. I mean, the festival thing goes all day. We're on in the evening because we're the last band on. But yeah, so that's in Bristol, the one on the Sunday, and that's at the Cat and Wheel. That's 4 o'clock till 7, and it's part of their weekly blues bands that they have there at the moment, which they normally have from 6 till 9. Blow the Salt played there as well a few weeks ago, and they're doing a blues festival I think in August, and I think Blow the Salt we're playing at the one in August, but I couldn't tell off the top of my head the date.
Nice. 15th and 16th of June, Tiverton and Bristol.
Yeah.
And where can we keep updated about stuff to do with Far From the Delta?
Probably Facebook's the best place. We're on Instagram, we're on X, YouTube, SoundCloud,
Spotify, by the sounds of it.
But I would say, because the age range of most people who listen to blues and the age range of people, what social media people are on, Facebook seems to be where we get the most response.
Right.
Because all of us old folkies use Facebook. And
yeah. That newfangled thing, Facebook, right? Yeah.
I'm still gutted I had to come off MySpace and go on to Facebook. I loved MySpace.
What do you mean you came off MySpace? What, is that what have I been updating? Cool. All right. Jeremy, thank you. Thank you.
Fun.
Very informative. Yes, very good fun. Yeah. Thank you very much. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
So as you can see, that was great fun speaking with Jeremy, and I really recommend that you go and check out their album Broken Blues. That's from the band Far From The Delta, where he is the lead singer, guitarist and harmonica player. Right, time for some blues jams and some notices. I've got my little screen here, let me know what's going on. So, as always, the Colin Staples Blues Jam at the Navigation Inn, Castle Lock, Nottingham. That is every Wednesday. Granted, you may or may not get to see that before this Wednesday, but you'll know about it for next Wednesday. Next up, we've got the Great British Blues Jam at the Temple of Arts and Music. That's 42 Newington Causeway, SE1, this is in London, SE1 6DR, every Saturday from 3:30 in the afternoon onwards. The Magic Garden at 231 Battersea Park Road, London. That's SW11 4LG on the second Thursday of every month, starting at 8 p.m. If my calculations are right, the next one is the 13th of June, tomorrow. Depending on when you're listening to this, of course. The South Coast Blues Jam, which is at the Factory Live, which is 9A Ivy Arch Road, Worthing. That's postcode BN148BX. Is the third Sunday of each month. That's 2 p.m. till 5 p.m. Again, that should be the 16th then, if my calculations are correct. And then the Blue Lamp at 121 Gallowgate in Aberdeen in Scotland. That's postcode AB251BU. That's every Wednesday as well at 8 p.m. The Friday Night Blues Jam is coming up on the 21st of June. Under the Edge, Wootton Under Edge, GL127AF. That is at 7:30 p.m. And the Backdoor Blues Jam, the Orchard Inn, Hanover Place, Harbourside, Bristol, BS1 6XT. That's 8:30 at night till 11 p.m. every Monday. Every Monday. So make sure you make it to those jams. If you've never been to a jam before and you play a musical instrument, please don't be intimidated. I'm no good. I still go. Everybody's friendly. Everybody's encouraging. You'll learn a load about your instrument, and you'll learn how to play with other musicians, and it really doesn't matter what ability you are. If you want to go and watch some live blues, go to these jams and go and check them out. And until then, I'll see you all next Wednesday. If you've liked what you've heard today, please subscribe, tell a friend so they can enjoy it as well, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.